Heritage Sports. We are here to talk about Justin Fields today and what the Chicago Bears are going to do with the NFL draft of 2023. They have the first pick, and everyone is putting whispers out there that Justin Fields is available, whether that's coming from inside the organization or outside of the organization. Me personally, I think it's inside. I'm going to tell you why about that. I'm also going to tell you a bombshell trade I think that's going to happen at the end of this video. All right, let's just get right into it. Justin Fields, he is incredible. I love to watch Justin Fields. I really do. I wish Chicago had more personnel as far as offense goes. I mean, they brought in the receiver from Pittsburgh, and he was just awful. I mean, just Chase Claypool, who has been abysmal once he went to the Chicago Bears. He was okay with the Steelers, but he really did not help them in season with that trade. So Justin Fields is just running for his absolute life. And you got to think about him being a rookie going into hitting his rookie wall. And then there's the rookie wall, plus there was an added week. So he thinks he's almost done after 16 games. Actually, no, you got to play a 17th game. So going into the next season, will his body be prepared? Chicago knows him better than anybody. The personnel, the coaches in that building, they're going to be the same from last year. They're going to know him more than anybody and what his strengths and weaknesses are. Now, Justin Fields is 6'3", 228. He's listed as that. I was surprised when I saw that. He looks a little smaller than 6'3", but it's good to know. I mean, I went and checked his combine tape, and what they have him listed at is 6'3", 228. So he's at a good size, and he's not. When he was 228, I was surprised too. I really thought he was more of a 200 to 205 kind of person, but the guy went through the season. I think he's going to have a whole lot better understanding of what the NFL is and how to play and how to reserve his body. The problem is, guess what? I don't know if the Bears are going to be are going to wait on that. So again, I talked about the rumors in and outside of the building. Before the NFL draft, when you have the number one pick or you have a top three pick and you want to see what people's best offers are, you put feelers out to the press. That's just what happens. I know that as a former NFL agent, that's what they would say in certain conversations you would have with them, whether that's at the combine or over the phone. All right. So they are leaking and leaning that Justin Fields can be had for a price that they like. And for me, and from what my understanding is, that's not a bad move for the Chicago Bears. So this is what they can do. Number one pick, they are definitely either going to trade that pick for somebody that trade back down and then flip those picks, or they take a quarterback. I mean, that's just what it is. But the thing they have to understand, and I think they have smart enough people there, which we'll go over in 1 second, they understand that if they take a quarterback number one overall, the value they have for Justin Fields drops. They have to trade him before the draft. So they got to do that before the draft because everyone's going to know you got to trade him to somebody and nobody wants to overpay. You have to overpay going into the draft. And I think they're going to take it up maybe until the last week. Who knows? But it's going to be an exciting time if they do trade him. If they don't trade him, that's great. They can come in and fill the rest of the team because they need offensive playmakers. All right. That's just the bottom line. But we are going to cover whether he gets traded and traded to who. All right. So Kevin Warren, who was the Big Ten president, is now the president of the Chicago Bears. He knows CJ Stroud more than anybody, or he knows people connected to CJ more than anybody. Justin Fields was at Ohio State, but they know if they get a chance to flip him and get the same level or better level quarterback, why not? Because CJ Stroud is the same size. He's essentially 6'3". I think he's 215-ish. And he's a little bit younger. Not much younger, but he's a little bit younger than Justin Fields. If they can go ahead and take that quarterback and then trade Justin Fields for a first round draft pick, why not? So that's something to take in consideration. This Kevin Warren just comes to the organization. Now all of a sudden they have all these feelers out in the press that Justin Fields could be had for a good price. So what would that price be? So the four teams that came up in my mind when I'm looking over the mock draft over and over again are the Commanders. And if you have not listened to our Anthony Richardson video, go back and listen to that. And the way where Anthony Richardson is slotted to go in a lot of mock drafts are at the Commanders. But the new mock drafts are really saying Anthony Richardson is probably going to be gone before they pick. All right. With that being said, they need to be proactive. They need to either trade up or trade for a quarterback that's young that's going to lead that franchise because they understand Carson Wentz is not going to do it. They understand Taylor Heineke is not going to do it because they are such a good football team and they just had mediocre performance out of the quarterback position. That held them back. They could have easily competed in the playoffs and been in one of those spots. They can play with the Eagles. They can play with the Cowboys. They know how to play them. And they could have played the 49ers easily if they had competent quarterback play. All right. So let's just look at where they're slotted to draft one more time. In the first round, the Commanders draft at number 16. And the recent ones, like I said, the recent mock drafts have Anthony Richardson gone if they stay put. So at that point, can you trade with the Houston Texans? I'm not, excuse me, Houston Texans. Can they trade with the Chicago Bears and put a package together to get Justin Fields? Why not? They trade them the number 16 pick. And let me tell you something. If you think they're going to find a player that's going to be better than Justin Fields at number 16 at that particular moment, good luck. You have a quarterback that's already got a year under his belt, who's going to come to DC, be the face of the franchise, who's ready to be the face of the franchise. And as I said in the Anthony Richardson video, I don't think he's ready to start day one. You get a day one starter for the number 16 pick and wherever else you got to throw in a fourth rounder, who cares? At that point, you can excite the fan base, all right? So that's something they need to think about. The next team I'm going to talk to you about is the Atlanta Falcons. Mariota quit on them. That's just the bottom line. Mariota quit when they went with Ritter because they were tired of mediocre quarterback play. That's just the bottom line. Ritter's good. He's a developmental player. Can he be 2-3 years from now really, really good? He has showed those signs. He has the confidence and he wants to be there at the NFL. But at this particular time, he's not going to get you to winning consistently. So that's a problem. So do you bring Justin Fields in? And by the way, Justin Fields been to Georgia. He was in Georgia for a year, and I believe he's from the Atlanta area. I'll check that in a second. But why not? That I don't think that would be far-fetched because when you look at the quarterback performances, who had the better quarterback performance, him or Ritter? I would think Justin Fields. So let me just check that right now. I want to make sure I got that completely accurate information to say he's from that area. Now I'm looking right now. He is from Kennesaw, Georgia, which is a short drive to Atlanta. So he's a Atlanta-based kid that can come back and be the face of the franchise, and everybody remembers him, knows he was a high school legend, and would just fit right in. I think that's a really, really advantageous uh, pickup. The problem is, I don't think you trade the number 8 pick for that. They're going to have to be more creative to figure out how they can get Justin Fields, whether that's through a pick in the future, maybe a second rounder or something like that. But the number 8 pick is just a little bit too high, but I think that it can be had sooner or later. The next one I want to say is Miami. I want to say maybe because you don't know if they're going to get win the Tom Brady sweepstakes, first of all. And if you do win the Tom Brady sweepstakes, my goodness, he really struggled down the stretch. The Tua is still in concussion protocol a month after it happened. He had 3 concussions. The NFL is really going to be bearing down on him as if he just takes the wrong step. And at that point, you don't know how long he's going to play. So you want to have an insurance policy, and they don't pick in the first round. Again, they're going to have to be creative. They forfeited their first round draft pick with their owner, Stephen Ross, trying to tamper with Brady. So we'll see how it goes. But they're going to have to be creative and figure out if they want to get Justin Fields to come in as an insurance policy. But to me, if you bring him in as an insurance policy at that level, Tua's out the door. Like you all don't think he's going to play again or play at a high level. So we'll see what their brain trust is going to do. All right. So now let's get to this big trade I was telling you about. This is the trade I think is really going to happen. So the team I did not mention was the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, yes, yes. I understand they have the number 2 pick. They are not going to trade the number 2 pick to Chicago or any pick to flip spots. That's just ridiculous. I hope they don't consider that because that would be the wrong move. The Houston Texans can naturally take whoever Chicago doesn't take or whoever trades up in that spot does not take because they can't take 2 quarterbacks. They can either get C.J. Stroud that falls to them. They can get Bryce Young. They could get the Levis kid if he falls because there are some people that's PFF are saying that the Colts may trade up to get Levis number 1 overall. I don't know, but we'll see. So whoever that quarterback is, they can just take them. But I think Houston, as I've said before, has so many holes on their team. All right. So I don't think they'll trade a number 2 pick. But if they don't pick a quarterback, right? And this is stuff that's going to happen before the draft. I know they're thinking about this. They can get a whole bunch of defensive players at a good spot at that particular moment. They can get Will Anderson, an edge rusher out of Alabama. They can get Jalen Carter, who I think is the best defensive person, defensive tackle out of Georgia, and you can move him around. He's not relegated to one particular spot. You can move around in the line. He's very, very talented. So you can go different places. There's also the kid out of Clemson. I think his name is Brian Bresee. He can go. You can choose between those few players. So here's the trade. The Texans, who have the number 12 pick from the Cleveland Browns from the Deshaun Watson trade, can trade number 12 to Chicago. If that's not, to me, that's a win-win on a lot of fronts. All right, Chicago gets to not only flip Justin Fields for a first-round pick and come back at number 12 and pick, and they can pick whoever, best player on the board to help fill out their team. They get to keep their number 1 pick and choose, whoever. C.J. Stroud, if they like him, who I think Kevin Warren likes. He was able to see him a lot at Ohio State while he was the Big 10 commissioner. They could take C.J. Stroud first overall and then come around and draft at number 12 the best player on the board. Hopefully an offensive playmaker. If Quentin Johnson is there as a wide receiver or whoever else, or the tight end out of Notre Dame, Mayer. That's a little high for him, but he's really, really good. Like he's going to be a really, really good tight end coming out of college. So you could really, really help the Chicago Bears by saying, okay, we got C.J. Stroud, who's not that far off from Justin Fields, played Ohio State, big game player, and we gave him a great tight end. And the Bears are a tight end franchise. Like they put out quality tight ends over the years. So why not? It goes together. That's how you do it, and then build the team. And for the Texans, you get to fill out the rest of your team. You still pick number 2 or whatever defensive player you want, or offensive player. Don't get me wrong. You pick whoever you want. But then you trade that number 12 pick. At 12, you're not going to get a player better than Justin Fields in this draft. It's just not going to happen. That's ready to play now. You get Justin Fields to come in, play in Houston. He's, like I said, he's a kid from the South. He's in Houston. And then you get to pair him with the people you get in the draft. If you only give up the number 12 pick for Justin Fields, that's a win. A win is a win. And then you hire D'Amico Ryans. I mean, that's energizing the fan base if I'm a Texan. We got D'Amico in the fold. We got Justin Fields, a fantastic second-year player that is amazing to watch in person. And you got him for the 12th pick overall, and a brand new defensive player or offensive player that you drafted in the top 3. That's starting the franchise in the right direction. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I think it's a solid plan. I think that's the trade that makes the most sense for both parties. The Bears get their new quarterback. and then get a chance to flip Justin Fields for a first round pick and pick whoever at 12. And the Texans, in fact, keep their top 3 pick and then get a absolute stud ready to go quarterback that's very similar to Deshaun Watson, hopefully without the massages, and be able to play at a high level, knowing what the NFL is about, and being able to build the rest of the team and go on from there. I think it makes the most sense. The AFC, the NFC, they rarely play each other. I think it's a win-win. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Appreciate y'all for everything. Heritage Sports.